What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So the markets are looking great today. The S&P's up 0.7%, the Dow's up 0.3%, the Nasdaq 100's up 1.7%, and the Russell's down about 0.9% with 5 minutes left. So I want to break down some technicals, go over stocks to buy now, and I also want to share stocks I own right now. So make sure to go down below, hit the like button, subscribe, get some free money. 2 stocks from WeBull. Those are valued up to $1,600. You could also get $30 free from M1 Finance, and you could check out the Strive Smart Discord chat. All of those are free, link down below. And if you guys want exclusive access to me, one-on-one access, buy and sell alerts, call outs, morning update videos, that's on the Patreon. That's also linked right down below. So let's get into it. S&P 500, like I said, we have about 5 minutes left in the session. It's currently up 0.67%, up 26 points. And what I'm noticing here is, no doubt about it, a great run from the bulls today. We opened up at 39.15. We got all the way to about 39.55. So that was a run of about 40 points intraday. That's close to 1%. And what I'm noticing from there, although we did have a great run for the bulls, we're noticing a big resistance, a rejection at a lower high point on this 5-day, 5-minute at about 39.55, right? So it is a good sign that we did break 39.50, which was an all-time high from a couple of weeks ago. We also talked about that in the morning update video this morning on Patreon. That was a good sign. And I mentioned how 39.50, 39.30 and 39.15, I mean, all of these levels are key for the S&P right now. And the fact that we broke 39.15 today, we broke 39.30, we broke 39.50, these are all great signs. Now, what I want to see is, are we going to hold this uptrend in the past 2 days? Because look, we hit a higher high, we hit a higher low. Right now, with the market's about to close, that's going to be a higher low. So 2 days, in the past 2 days, the market's been uptrending. So are we going to hold this uptrend? But if you look in the past 5 days, we're also downtrending. So there's a couple questions here. Are we going to hold the uptrend? And are we also going to break out of the downtrend from the past 5 days? If that happens, guys, if 39.55 breaks the high from today and we break 39.60 as well, these are 2 big levels of resistance right now ahead of us, to the point where if we break these, in my opinion, there's going to be explosive momentum to the upside, and we'll probably go to 4,000 points, maybe even 4,050. That is where we could be going if we break this 39.50, 55, 60 level that we're struggling at right now. So watch out for those points on the S&P, and I'd say this 5-day, 5-minute is the most important chart. That's the one I'm focusing on the most right now when it comes to short-term price action. And you could look at the hourly chart. You can see even more, how big of a level 39.50 is. And of course, the 4-hour chart shows a broader picture. And you can see, if we break out of this point, we could see a push to 4,000, 4,050, maybe something like this. And after we see that, we'll probably see another pullback, a little bit of a sell-off, maybe closer to the moving averages here on the 4-hour chart. So those are some thoughts on the S&P 500. And now what we see right here is the Nasdaq 100. This is up 1.7%. And by the looks of it, the inverse head and shoulder we've been calling out a lot these past couple of videos on YouTube and on Patreon. This is looking like it's in play. And if you guys caught my video this morning on Patreon, we called out QQQ, which tracks the Nasdaq 100, QQQ, and this went up 1.8% today. We called it from 315. It filled the gap to 320. Now it's at 318. And quite frankly, I think there's more upside to 325. So this is still in play. And that means the inverse head and shoulder on the Nasdaq 100 has more upside, in my opinion. Maybe to 13,300, maybe 13,500. Those are a couple of levels I'm looking at here. And look, guys, the 10-year Treasury yield last week, it got over 1%. 1.7 and got to 1.74. Saw a big spike. Markets dropped, especially the tech stocks, the higher growth stocks. So it popped up last week, the 10-year, and today it went down to 1.68. It closed down 2.77%. So the 10-year dropped today, hence the big move in the tech stocks, the Nasdaq 100. And you guys can see in my watch list here, a lot of the top performers were tech stocks. I mean, look at all this green, and all of these pretty much, other than CL, were tech stocks and Beyond Meat. But a lot of these are tech stocks, guys. So what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. What are your thoughts on the market? Stocks you're buying? What are you selling, if anything? How much cash do you have? I personally have about 20, and there goes the markets there, guys. 20 to 30% cash is what I personally have, and that's what I'm comfortable with right now. Quite frankly, I think there is some upside in tech, and who knows, we might be getting a rotation back into tech here. These could be the early signs. Well, the past couple of days have been breakout days if you look at this 4-hour chart. So these could be the early signs of a bounce back. And again, I'd love to know what you think down below in the comments. And when it comes to my stocks, guys, Tesla, I'm in Tesla, I'm in Tattooed Chef, I'm in SLV, I'm in ChargePoint, and I'm in NEO. But I want to focus on Tesla for this portion of the video because you guys saw the massive, I'm talking massive price predictions that Cathie Wood came out and ARK Invest came out with these past couple of days. That was what, on Friday or Saturday or something. Their bullish case was $3,000 by the 2025 date, which is under 4 years, or about 4 years from now. So they think Tesla could go from $600 per share to $3,000. I believe there was an ultra bullish case, even more than that. The base case was like $1,500. So needless to say, they're very bullish. Am I that bullish on Tesla, guys? I mean, you guys know I'm no Tesla bear, but am I that bullish to say where it's going to get to $3 trillion market cap in 5 years? Don't get me wrong, I'm bullish, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but the $3,000 price target, just understand that is very bullish. A lot of things need to go right for that to happen, and at this point, they're a $600 billion company, so it's got to go from $600 billion, $700 billion to $3 trillion, $2.5–3 trillion. I mean, that's it's a big move. I think eventually Tesla will be a multi-trillion-dollar company, for sure a $1 trillion company. That's no doubt in my mind. But for them to do it in 3 to 4 years, that's the thing. It's a timing issue. Maybe they don't do it in 3–4 years, but they do it in 6–7 years, right? And for me, I don't really care because I'm a long-term investor in Tesla, so I could not care less. I mean, obviously, I'd like for them to do well sooner, but if it takes them 7 years to get to a $3,000 price, or 10 years even, as opposed to 5 years, I mean, what's the difference, right? I mean, overall, if you hold them long term, you're going to make money at the end of the day. And even if it goes to 1,500, which again I think is the base case, that's still about a 3x from where we are now, about a 2–2.5x to be more exact. And if you compound that out to 2025, I mean, if you look at the year-over-year return of a 2–2.5x, I mean, that's still great. What are you making? 30–40% a year, 50% a year. I mean, guys, people are so they're desensitized to the gains these days, where a 2x in 5 years is like, that's terrible. 2.5x in 5 years, that's a piece of crap. But the truth is, I mean, if you're making 30–40% a year, which would be the case if you were all in Tesla and it went from 670 to 1,500 in 5 years, I mean, that's very good money. That's a good return. I mean, don't let the craziness we've seen in the past year fool you, where everything goes up 1,000% and that's the norm. It's not the norm. 30–40% even is not the norm. So if Tesla were to go to 1,500, that would be a very good return considering today's prices. And I'm not telling you guys to go buy Tesla now. You guys must do your own research, but in my opinion, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And you guys know I'm in it now. I was buying it on the dip here, and I've owned a little position even before this whole run-up. And you guys know, my early viewers, you guys know I was in Tesla and NEO for that matter, and you guys know that as well for my early viewers, right? So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm focusing on Tesla a lot right now. I'd love to know your thoughts on that down below. Make sure to also go check out the Patreon if you want my real-time buy and sell alerts, stocks I'm looking at real-time, call-outs, more access to me, and we also do morning videos over there on Patreon. That's linked right down below. So let's get into some stocks now. Chewy is number one, CHWY, and this is a beautiful double bottom. Look at what I'm seeing here on Chewy, guys. Double bottom at $77. You guys can see we hit that first bottom in the beginning of March, on the 8th of March to be exact. The second bottom was just hit a couple days ago on the 18th of March at $76.77, and now we're breaking out. In fact, we broke out of $83. That was resistance from back in the beginning of December, and we broke the 50 moving average on the 4-hour chart, and now we filled the gap all the way to $85, $87, which was resistance a couple of trading days ago. So I think this double bottom breakout is setting up beautifully, and for it to obviously go higher, we're going to need to see a break out of the resistance from a couple days ago. So very simple here on Chewy. I'm going to set on alert at $86. Let's say $86.50. If it breaks that point, I think $90. Here we come. Let's just put it that way. That is what I'm thinking. I think if that point breaks, boom, we're going maybe 95, maybe back to the 180 moving average here at about 98. So watch out for Chewy, CHWY. Snapchat is another one, SNAP, that I really like right here. It's currently down about $15 from the high. It's in a bear market, down 22%. And what we're noticing on the 4-hour chart here, we're holding the uptrend. We're at a higher low at this point at about $58. And notice $58 was also resistance back in the middle of January, and also was resistance in the beginning of March. So I think if 58 holds, we end up breaking this downtrend on the 5-day, 5-minute. Would you look at that? We break out of $59, $60. I think Snapchat is going to be a nice momentum play, probably back up to the mid-60s. And at that point, at 64, 65, we break out of this wedge. If that happens, guys, $70 could be in the cards. So I like Snapchat. Big momentum coming, in my opinion. That's if it holds 58, which as of now it looks like it is, and 55, 56 for that matter. If it dumps under those levels, though, I think it's going to be, that's a big red flag for the uptrend, and we might be seeing some downside from that point. And MasterCard is another one I really like right now, MA. This one's down about $30 from its high, down about 8%. It's not too crazy of a drop, but 8%, it's a decent chunk, right? And this is probably dropping because we're seeing the Justice Department, we talked about this last week and this morning, we're seeing the Justice Department, they're investigating Visa over malpractice with their debit cards, not being so transparent, and maybe cheating the system in a way, and that's really affecting Visa stock and MasterCard as well, because MasterCard and Visa, I mean, although MasterCard, from my knowledge, is not being investigated right now, they move hand in hand pretty much, right? And you notice when, like the chip stocks, for example, if AMD were to get hit, maybe Intel would go down, or maybe Intel would go up. You guys get it? There's sometimes a relationship between stocks in the same industry, and we're seeing MasterCard get hit, and quite frankly, I think this is going to hold 345, 350, 355, right around the 180 moving average. So I like this dip a lot here on the 4-hour, but let me tell you, the second it breaks 345, I'm probably not going to be looking at it as a swing trade, but as a long play, long-term investment. I'd probably add more to my long-term investment if it were to get into the low 300s. And CRM, Salesforce, is another one which it looks like people are buying up this dip. Look at this. It dropped from $251 a couple weeks ago, right? Got to about $200, so it lost $50 per share, but it did hold the downtrending channel here on the 4-hour. That drop, we saw that, and we held the downtrending channel. We're holding 210, and now we're curling back up to $215 per share, and that has been a big sticking point, $215. 215. You guys can see here on the hourly chart, 215 has been a sticking point. So I'm going to set an alert on CRM here, create alert. We'll put it at 217.50. If that breaks, that's going to be a good sign that CRM wants to fill the gap to probably 240, probably 245, which is the resistance here on the 4-hour chart. Look at this, guys. Right around 245 is the resistance of the channel. So very simple. CRM, it takes those levels out. Granted, 215 has been resistance the past couple of weeks. So if that breaks, I think there's going to be a lot of momentum. So watch out for CRM. I like it. FedEx is another one which they did well with earnings. The stock went up to 282. That was on Friday. And today we saw a healthy pullback, down 2%, down $5.50. And we closed right above a resistance from last week at about 272 to 273. And we closed at 274.02 to be exact. And I think this is a decent dip. We're down about 4% from the high, and I think we could go lower, so watch out for maybe a gap down to 265, right around the 180 moving average here on the 1-hour chart. That'd be a dip of another 2%, which I think would be even better. So I'm watching FedEx anywhere from 265 to about 272 as an entry point, and ideally I'd get it more. I'd like it more at 265. And what we're noticing here, guys, is look, we failed right at the EMA at a lower high, and we dumped into the close of the market. That's not a good sign, and we actually closed a little bit under the 50 moving average on the hourly chart. So that's a sign that's telling me, yeah, we're going lower, probably 265, and that is where I am going to pick up some shares of FedEx. Fastly is another one, FSLY. You guys can see the beautiful inverse head and shoulder here on Fastly, the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and now we're fussing with this 5-day, 5-minute downtrend resistance, and we actually are holding a higher lows as well from the past 2 days. So we're in a wedge on this 5-day, 5-minute, and I think tomorrow is going to be a big day when it comes to overall direction. Do we break out of 72 and we see a gap fill to 76, 77? That's kind of what I'm looking for on the bullish side, because 77, guys, if you look on this 4-hour chart, that is where we see resistance overall. The past couple, well, it's really been a month at this point, we haven't broken above 77. So on that 5-day, 5-minute, again, if we take the wedge out, we take the resistance out, I think we'll go to 77. But on the other side, it's going to get ugly, I think, if we break under $70. If we break the uptrend here that we've held the past 2 days, I think we go under 70. We might be testing the lows at about $68, and maybe we go under that point and we go to $58, maybe $62. So watch out for Fastly. I like it here, but we have to be patient, and even above 77, there's upside. I think there's even more upside if it could prove to break above 77, probably up to about $85, $86. So I like Fastly. Adobe is another one, ADBE. This one, we called it out earlier this morning in the morning update video on Patreon. This ended up shooting up. So if you guys caught this, that was a good move. It went up 2.5% in the morning, hit a high of 457, dropped back down to 451. Now it's at 452. So I really like Adobe here, especially, well, now that we broke 450, like we mentioned this morning, that was a key level. Now that we broke that, we're actually holding it as support. I think there's even more upside. I think ultimately Adobe, and plus they have earnings coming out tomorrow, so this could happen this week. I think Adobe could get up to 470. That's the next big resistance I'm looking at. Actually, maybe 460 is the first one, and then 470. But overall, I think there is a little bit more juice in this rally, and the 180 moving average here on the 4 hours also a resistance, so be mindful of that. And who knows, if 470 could break, plus good earnings, we get some momentum, this could go to 500, 475, 480, pretty quickly. So watch out for that, guys. So those are the main stocks I'm watching. And if you guys stuck till the end, I have 2 bonus ones for you. And make sure to leave me a comment down below. Say stuck till the end if you all stuck till the end. And if you did, I really appreciate you all for supporting the content here. It means a lot. Bonus stock number 1 is CIIC. This is actually a SPAC. It went up 5.3% today, and I've been calling this one out, and it hasn't made the move yet. And by calling it out, I mean we've been looking at this this descending triangle, this wedge, whatever you want to call it. We've been looking at it for weeks, and every time it's gotten to the resistance, I've been like, look, guys, wait for the breakout. This might be the time. And just hasn't broken out yet, and we're approaching that resistance. We closed right under it yet again today, and is this the time for the breakout? It very well could be, or it might not be. So I'm going to set an alert at 26, maybe 26.50 on CIIC. If it breaks out of that point and above $27, I think that's going to be a good sign, and especially above $27.50 for the overall breakout. So watch out for CIIC. And Square is the second bonus stock, which is right at the support of a wedge here on the 4-hour chart. You can see that's at about 225. I think if we hold this point, there could be upside to about 238, 240. If that tests and breaks, the wedge resistance would break, and therefore we could see upside to 250, 255, maybe even 265. So overall, guys, those are the stocks for today, what I'm watching, stocks I own, thoughts on the market. Make sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and don't forget, let me know if you guys stayed till the end. Hit that like button as well while you're at it. Subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to get 2 stocks from WeBull. Those are valued up to $1,600, linked right down below. You could also get $30 from M1 Finance, also linked down below. And if you want to join our growing list of patrons, I really appreciate all 50 plus of you supporting me on Patreon. Check out that link down below. You guys get buy and sell alerts on there, call outs, morning update videos, and you have more access, one-on-one access to me throughout the day. And you guys could also follow me on Instagram and on TikTok and on Twitter. All of those are at Stas Surfes, all one, at Stas Surfes. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, keep crushing the market. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace out.